The first thing Ethan Carter noticed wasn't the rain. It was the trembling. A soft, desperate shiver came from the backseat of his car, like a trapped bird trying not to make a sound. Ethan's hands froze on the steering wheel. The streetlight outside painted his windshield in pale gold, and the drops of water slid down like tears. He hadn't even started the engine yet. He'd only stepped into the driver's seat after leaving the grocery store, tired from a long shift at the warehouse, already thinking about his daughter's bedtime story. Then he heard it again. A breath. Not his. Ethan slowly turned his head toward the rearview mirror. For a second, he saw nothing but darkness and fogged glass. Then, two wide eyes blinked from behind the passenger seat. A woman. A bride. A white veil clung to her hair, damp and heavy. Her makeup was smeared, her lips pale, and her chest rose and fell in panicked bursts like she'd been running for miles. She pressed a finger to her lips, pleading for silence. Ethan's heart slammed against his ribs. What the? He began. But before he could finish, she whispered, barely audible over the rain. Please, don't send me back. Ethan didn't move. His mind raced through every possibility. A prank. A crime. A mistake. But there was something in her eyes that no performance could fake. Pure terror. Outside, a car sped past, then another. Somewhere nearby, men shouted. A door slammed. Footsteps pounded the wet pavement. The bride flinched so hard she hit her head against the seat. Ethan's instinct screamed at him to get out, to call the police, to do something safe and sensible. Then he thought of his daughter. 6-year-old Lily. Small hands, big trusting eyes. The way she clung to him when she had nightmares. The way she asked him, sometimes, why mommy never came back. Ethan swallowed. He knew what fear looked like. He knew what it felt like to be cornered by life with no one to save you. He reached back slowly and held up his palm to show he wasn't a threat. It's okay, he said quietly. You're safe. Just breathe. Her eyes filled with tears so fast they spilled down her cheeks. Footsteps drew closer. Ethan didn't ask her name. He didn't ask why. He simply turned the key, started the engine, and pulled away from the cab as if this was the most normal thing in the world. And as the car rolled forward, he leaned slightly toward the back seat and whispered the only words he needed. I'll protect you. The bride covered her mouth to keep from sobbing out loud. And in that moment, Ethan Carter, single dad, exhausted worker, quiet man, unknowingly drove straight into a storm that would test everything he believed about courage, love, and what it truly means to be a protector. Her name was Amina. Ethan learned it only after they'd been driving for 10 minutes, far enough that the shouting had faded into the night. He stopped at a deserted gas station under a flickering light, not to leave her, but to make sure no one was following. Amina stayed curled in the back seat like she was afraid her body might disappear if she moved too much. Her wedding dress was expensive, lace and satin, but torn at the hem and stained with mud. Ethan stepped out and checked around the car. Nothing. No headlights waiting. No suspicious men. He got back inside, took a slow breath, and spoke gently. My name's Ethan, he said. I'm not going to hurt you. But you need to tell me what's going on. Amina stared at him for a moment like she didn't know if she could trust words anymore. Then her voice broke. They're going to kill me, she whispered. Ethan's chest tightened. Who? My uncle. The groom's family. Everyone. She swallowed hard. I was supposed to marry him tonight. I refused. They said I didn't have a choice. Ethan didn't know much about forced marriages. He'd heard stories on the news, read headlines, but it had always felt like something that happened far away from his small life of school lunches and overtime shifts. Yet here it was, in his back seat, in a trembling human being with a veil still pinned in her hair. Ethan tried to keep his voice steady. Why didn't you go to the police? Amina let out a laugh that sounded more like a sob. Because my uncle has friends everywhere. And because they would say I'm dishonoring my family. They would say I'm dramatic. They would send me back. She pressed her forehead against the seat. My mother is dead, she whispered. My father died when I was 12. I have no one. My uncle raised at me. He said this marriage would save us. That it would bring respect, money, a good life. Her hands clenched into fists. But the man I was supposed to marry, he is cruel. He looks at women like their property. Ethan's jaw tightened. He thought of Lily again. He thought of anyone looking at his daughter that way one day. Amina's voice cracked. I told them no, she said. And they slapped me. They locked me in a room. They said if I ran, they would drag me back in front of everyone and punish me so badly no one would ever question them again. Ethan stared ahead through the rain-streaked windshield. A part of him wanted to say, I can't get involved. He was just a dad. Just a man trying to survive. He didn't have power or money or connections. But another part of him, deeper, older, remembered what it was like to be helpless. After Lily's mother left, Ethan had begged her to stay. He'd offered forgiveness. He'd offered therapy. He'd offered anything. But she walked away anyway. And Ethan had stood in the doorway with a baby in his arms, realizing the world didn't care about fairness. It only cared about strength. He turned toward Amina. You're not going back, he said. Amina blinked. What? Ethan's voice didn't shake. Not while I'm here. Her eyes filled with disbelief, like she'd never heard anyone promise her anything without demanding payment. Why? She whispered. Ethan didn't have a perfect answer. He only had the truth. Because I know what it feels like, he said. To be trapped. To have no one. And because, he hesitated, thinking of Lily. Because I don't want my daughter growing up in a world where men like that win. Amina's lips trembled. Thank you, she breathed. Ethan nodded. First, we get you somewhere safe. Ethan didn't take her to his apartment right away. He was careful. He drove through back streets, took turns that didn't make sense, doubled back twice. He wasn't paranoid by nature, but something about the way Amina flinched at every passing car made him understand feel like hers was errand. Finally, he pulled into a quiet neighborhood and parked behind a small building with only 2 floors. His place. Before he could get out, Amina grabbed the back of his seat. Please, she said urgently. Don't leave me alone. Ethan paused. Then he gave her a small, steady nod. I'm here. He walked around and opened the back door. Amina climbed out slowly, her dress dragging in puddles. She looked like a ghost of a wedding that should never have happened. Ethan led her upstairs quietly. When he unlocked the door, warm light spilled into the hallway, and so did the sound of a child humming. Amina froze. Ethan whispered, my daughter. Before Amina could ask anything else, Lily appeared in the doorway wearing pink pajamas, hair messy, holding her stuffed rabbit. Daddy, Lily's face lit up. You're back. Then she saw Amina. Her smile faded into curiosity. Amina stood frozen like she'd never been looked at with innocence before. Lily tilted her head. Is she a princess? Ethan's throat tightened. Something like that, sweetheart. Lily stepped closer. Why is he crying? Amina quickly wiped her face. I'm not crying, she whispered, but her voice cracked. Lily walked right up to her, reached out, and took Amina's hand like it was the most natural thing in the world. It's okay, Lily said. You can stay with us. Amina's lips parted. Her eyes shimmered again. Ethan watched, stunned by the simple kindness of a child. Amina bent slightly, her veil slipping forward. Lily touched the lace carefully. It's pretty, Lily said. But you look sad. Amina swallowed. I am sad. Lily nodded like she understood. Sometimes I'm sad too. But Daddy makes pancakes when I'm sad. Ethan let out a breath that sounded like laughter and pain combined. Go brush your teeth, he said softly to Lily. And get in bed. I'll be there in a minute. Lily hugged Amina without warning. Amina stiffened, then melted, like her body had forgotten what safe touch felt like. When Lily disappeared back into her room, Amina whispered, "She's beautiful." Ethan nodded. "She's my whole world." Amina looked down. "I don't want to bring danger to your world." Ethan's face hardened. "The danger isn't you." That night, Ethan gave Amina dry clothes, one of his old hoodies and sweatpants. He made tea. He gave her the couch and slept on the floor near the front door like a guard. Amina barely slept at all. Every time a car passed outside, she jolted awake. Ethan pretended not to notice. In the morning, Lily bounced out of her room and found Amina sitting upright, hands folded like she didn't know what to do with freedom. Lily grinned. "Good morning, princess." Amina smiled weakly. "Good morning." Lily pointed at Amina's hair. "Can I brush it?" Amina blinked, surprised. "You want to?" Lily nodded eagerly. Amina hesitated, then slowly handed Lily the brush. Ethan watched from the kitchen as Lily carefully brushed Amina's hair like she was doing something sacred. Amina's eyes softened. For the first time since Ethan had found her, she looked almost a human again, not just a terrified bride. But peace never lasts long when someone is hunting you. That afternoon, Ethan came home from picking up groceries and found a note on his door. No stamp, no envelope, just paper. 2 words in thick black ink. "Give her back." Ethan's blood went cold. He scanned the street. No one visible, but he could feel eyes somewhere. Inside, Amina saw his face and knew instantly. "They found me," she whispered. Ethan crumpled the note slowly. "No," he said. "They found us." Ethan knew he couldn't keep Amina hidden forever. He wasn't naive. People with power could track phones, follow cars, ask around. Amina had run from a wealthy family, one that didn't just fear dishonor but feared losing control. That night, Ethan made a plan. He called his friend Marcus, an older guy from work.